Hi guys, so as you can see, my name is Macca. I am the Brit from Brit and Abroad, and I'm going to talk to you about kind of my journey into becoming an influencer. I would still say I'm a traditional blogger, I think is the main thing. I started blogging in 2009. My first blog was called Slum Chums. It was just a travel log, I'm not going to lie. It was supposed to be about friends slumming it around the world. It was awful. It died a death and it should have done, but it really gave me that passion to tell a story. And I couldn't believe it at first. When I first started blogging, it was just to my family and friends back at home. And then people I'd never met before started reading it, and that very much empowered me to become a journalist. When I got back to the UK after traveling for 2 years, I really kind of had this passion for travel and for writing, and that's when I decided that, you know, this is the career path for me. So I decided to become a journalist. I've been working in journalism for about 6 years now. Ever since then, I've been the travel editor of gapyear.com. I've worked on the other side of the fence in PR and social media manager at Gosh PR. And then I was also at the Mail Online, which I probably shouldn't say, but I mean, yeah, it's a fact, which was my last job. And I have been professional as a professional, well, full-time travel blogger for about 1.5 years now. But Brit and Abroad's been going for about 3.5 years. So it's taken 2 years to really get to the point where I was comfortable enough to actually go full-time. And as you'll see at the top there, it's like blogger, presenter, photographer, videographer. You're probably thinking, what are you? I think as a brand, it's very important to think about who you're working with. I mean, if you're a hotel brand and you have a small pot of budget for, say, a hotel review, a journalist, but you also want to get some, you know, photos for marketing materials for like online or for a newsletter, you know, it's going to cost you a lot of money to get that photographer, to get that journalist in. Well, look at people who can do both of those things already. You know, look at someone who can do a hotel review and get it into a publication, but then can provide you with top quality photos as well. So I think the blogging sphere has kind of like changed somewhat. I think bloggers, it's not just about the writing anymore. They offer so much more. So yeah, I think it's quite important to note that bit. But yeah, this is a day in the life of me, essentially. You probably look at the bottom photos and you think it's all pretty pictures and going to amazing places. But it's not. It's actually, a lot of it is stuck in the back end. I mean, doing like all of my blog posts, I don't know if anyone uses Adobe or not, but the top one is Adobe Lightroom to edit photos. Adobe Premiere is at the bottom to do video. It takes a huge amount of time to create these things. Essentially, when doing a blog post, it's writing, it's editing the photos, it's editing the videos, uploading all into your CMS. You've got to link to products, you've got to promote the client that you're working with, and then once it's live, you've got to promote it on social media. That's Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, YouTube. You know, you've got to come up with your own social media strategy, your own marketing strategy. You know, you're a business, and you know, you've got to make sure that that's, you know, going all the way forward. And then it's also liaising with clients, giving them post-campaign analytics, talking about SEO. And I do that day after day after day. So you see, you know, the beautiful pictures in Jordan at Petra, and you think, oh, this guy's just on holiday all the time. When I'm not on holiday all the time, when I'm also working, you know, I'm waking up at, you know, 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm sitting at the laptop at 8, I'm doing 12 hours just to make sure that I catch up on the work before I'm going out again. So, I think a lot of brands kind of see influencers and see their photos and think, oh, you know, this is just a pretty picture. It is, don't get me wrong, but there is so much time and effort and graft to create something like that. So yeah, it's quite important to note. So why should you work with an influencer? Influencers do something so small it almost goes unrecognized, but it's something that brands, despite spending millions of dollars on, simply struggle to do. They influence people. You know, I stand in the middle between the brand and the consumer. You know, you're the brand and you want to sell your product to the consumer. No matter how you drive that message, whether it's through traditional online advertising or whatever other means, at the end of the day, you sometimes need a middleman, which is where influencers come in. I find it staggering that people listen to me. I really do. I always just want to kind of portray a destination or a particular brand in my own way. And I always work with brands that I would work and use with myself. So people listen to me. So it's fantastic when, you know, you're going to work with a tourist board or with a hotel group and you genuinely love that place. You're like, oh, this is just the most amazing place. You've got to come here, you've got to stay here. And then people see that and they're like, of course. I mean, you know, it looks fantastic. We never knew it would be like that. I think a good example of that is we did a huge campaign with the Greenland Tourist Board last year. And we did like a series of videos, loads of blog posts, and people just had no idea that Greenland looked like that. And they kind of like kept on saying like, wow, like this place is stunning. Like, you know, we'd definitely consider traveling there. And that's exactly the point. It's kind of getting your message across to, you know, use this influence, to use, you know, the people who are listening to us to get your messages across as well. And as you can kind of see, as you can kind of see on those stats there, essentially about 2/3 of people listen to, you know, bloggers, to vloggers, to whoever like that. And they actually think that, you know, they'll tangibly go on to buy their products and stuff like that. So I don't think it's a case of should you work with an influencer. I think it's a case of, you know, not even when, it's just who should you be working with. So I think it's important to talk about money, because I think as brands, it's a bit of a gray area. I'm always very upfront and honest in how much I charge for things. So we just did a big project with Monarch very recently, which is still going live at the moment. So that was £4,000, and essentially that was for 4 days work. We filmed for 4 days. And you think, wow, £1,000 a day, you must be like raking it in. But it's so much more than that. So it was the 4 days work when we're out in Porto doing this branded video, but then it's the talent fee, it's the media buyout. You know, that we kind of sold in 2 blog posts. We actually wrote 4 blog posts in the end. It's social media coverage on Facebook, on YouTube. And so far, you know, that's had 75,000 views. We're hoping to get into the 100,000 next week. Loads of shares, hundreds of comments. And, you know, people were saying like, oh, we never knew Porto looked like this. We can't wait to go. Like, or even people in Portugal saying, oh, you know, I live in Lisbon. I've never been to Porto. I can't wait to go there like next weekend and stuff. So it's fantastic, you know, that people really kind of like buy into what we're doing. So that's just one example of, you know, branded content. Another is Manfrotto. I don't really know if you guys know Manfrotto. They are a camera brand. They mainly do like tripods, backpacks, you know, camera accessories and stuff like that. So this is not necessarily working with a Brit abroad, but using my skills to work with them directly. So I've got a year-long campaign, which is 12 blog posts on their Manfrotto image more. Yeah, and then this is kind of promoting, you know, their products. I'll be like deep linking to particular tripods that you can buy, why you should buy it, you know, why is this backpack good for traveling and photography. And it's also brand awareness. Photography is like one of my biggest passions. You can dump me in any city around the world. As long as I've got my camera in my hand, I'm happy. And it's brand awareness, because I love this product. I always talk about it. People coming up to me and saying, oh, you know, I love the fact that you've got this tiny little tripod. What is that? Oh, it's a Manfrotto Pixie tripod. You know, it's a great little product. So yeah, it's good. It's kind of like once you kind of buy into an influencer and you kind of get them as an ambassador, then they're constantly promoting you all the time. So yeah, I think that's another good little example. So the future. The picture on the bottom right, which is awful, was actually me back in 2009 wearing a tuxedo on the Great Wall of China. It was trying to show the fact that the future of travel blogging and influencers is going to get a lot more professional. I really think it is. It already is. I mean, in the way that I work, in the way Brenna works, you know, it's always like on a whole campaign level. You know, we're already delivering things like post-campaign analytics. But yeah, I think that there's going to be more things like professional bodies. There should be contracts. Whoever you're working with, you know, if there's something that you want to get out of the influencer, make sure it's written down. Make sure that they're delivering that. Because if you don't, and they don't do that, then no one's liable essentially for it. They can just be like, you didn't give me enough, you know, example or enough like sphere to work with. That's why I didn't deliver on it. And then you'd be like, okay, well, I haven't actually got what I wanted out of this. So I think like one of the most important things when working with an influencer is to be open and honest. You know, at the end of the day, you're selling a product. Whatever your product is, you want that to generate money. So you want to use an influencer to ensure that you get that result. If you don't tell them that though, then they're not going to do that. So yeah, I think it's going to become a lot more professional in the way that you work with these kind of influencers and stuff. So this is my biggest pet peeve. It's not fun for Louis. This is Louis Cole. He is a wonderful YouTuber. He's not my biggest pet peeve at all. But always make sure you know who you're working with. He's got 2 million subscribers. He's basically a YouTuber celebrity. Like, people go to his channel every single day. He's doing daily vlogs. It's amazing what he does. He's doing like 10, 12, 13-minute videos every single day. It's mind-boggling the amount of content that he's creating. And as you can see, they're getting 50,000 views. Some of his videos have got over 1 million views. As a brand, you must be thinking, wow, 50,000 views, I want that. I want over 1 million views. Do you? Because you have to think about his audience. So going back to the Monarch example, at first they wanted to work with Fun for Louis because they thought, wow, Monarch, that would be brilliant to get 100,000 views or 1 million views or whatever it would be. Let's go to him. But then they started digging a little deeper. His audience predominantly is 14 to 21. How many of those are at the booking stage where they're going to book a flight with Monarch? Essentially, 3 years from 18 to 21. And how many of them are going to go with Monarch? You know, they came to us, they looked at our audience. Our audience is 26 to 40. That is a fantastic market to buy into. I don't know if you guys know of WTM, the World Travel Market, but at every single stage and every single stand we went to this year when we were talking to tourist boards, they said that the main people that they want to work with these days, or the consumers that they want to get to their countries, are at that 26 to 40 stage because they have a bit of money, they're looking to spend that bit of money, but also like once you get someone at that young stage, are they going to come back again in 5 years' time? Maybe not, but they probably will come back in 10 years' time or 20 years' time. Whereas you're trying to get like 60-year-olds, people kind of in that retirement stage or looking towards that because they've got a lot more money, you're only going to get them once. That's not repeat business. So, well, you might get them many times, of course. But yeah, that's my biggest pet peeve. Always make sure you know who you're working with. I know Brenna's going to go down into looking specifically at the stats. I'm open and honest with my stats.
People keep saying I'm going to talk about it. I'm thinking,
oh, yeah. And then I guess it's, you know, I got asked what's my aim as a travel blogger. It's to be Simon Reeve. I mean, look at him, he's gorgeous. He's wonderful at what he does. No, I do a lot of presenting work. I work with Lonely Planet doing presenting work for them. I've done like a few different shows all around the world, and I want to become Simon Reeve. Am I going to become Simon Reeve? Well, I don't know, that remains to be seen. But this is where you as a brand have got to roll the dice and take a gamble. Because you want to get Simon Reeve to do and promote your product. He's going to cost a lot of money. You get someone like me who could potentially become Simon Reeve. Well, that's great because I'm a lot cheaper. But the thing is if I become the next big thing and you've already got that brand loyalty, then that's massive. You've already paid for it, you know, and it's going to pay you back in dividends. So I think it's very important to look at the fact that you could be trying to get the biggest influencers in the world, the ones with millions and millions of followers. You can get them, but they're going to cost you a huge amount of money. But you really start like digging deeper and you really like focus on who you think is going to be the next biggest. I think that's massive because once you kind of like get that brand loyalty in from the beginning, then it will take you through for like years and years to come. And then finally, I got asked what's my biggest adventure. This was me about 2-3 weeks ago, hanging off an ice wall on a glacier in Iceland. In the afternoon and in the evening, we got to see the Northern Lights. It was a fantastic experience. That was working with Lonely Planet. They are starting to do branded content, so they're working with 3 Mobile, and the whole video is essentially about how you can use your mobile abroad. So that's a really interesting example of branded content in terms of like a traditional travel company with a mobile phone company kind of merging together, and then also using an influencer to tell the story. So I was the focus of the story. I do a lot of adventure travel blogging. So essentially they'll follow me around using my phone. I didn't use it whilst ice climbing, obviously. It was pretty hard with 2 axes in my hand. But yeah, it was a good adventure, that one. And then finally, you made it through the talk, which is fantastic. You can contact me on any of these channels. I'm always open to talk about absolutely anything. But I put this little graphic in at the bottom just to highlight exactly what this is. You know, this is amplification. This is your brand using influencers to get to many people. We are the ones with an invested audience who listen to us. So we say use us to obviously promote how amazing you guys are as well.